Hi, I'm Jayden, and I'm with JSJ Incorporated.
And I'm Jace, and I'm with Jace's Everyday, which is, you can find this on both of our channels, but whichever one you see it on is the one you see it on. And today, we have a Troy-Bilt blower here, and I've tried to check spark pressure already, compression, and it would not start. See, I'm going to just do this for you guys.
Yeah, so we're going to try to fix this thing.
And so I'm going to just, if you guys would come over here, I'm going to kind of explain here step by step. So basically, when we have this view right here, so just kind of move over. Yeah, when we have this view right here, what you're going to do is you're going to find this right here, this piece. It's your carburetor cover piece. You want to remove that so you have full access to the cover. And as soon as you open it, you'll notice that you have an air filter here, which kind of prevents dirt and stuff from sucking in. Right around here. And what you're going to do, you're going to carefully pinch that and remove it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these bolts right here and I'm going to unscrew them. And be careful because momentarily we will be unscrewing, or we will be removing fuel lines, so make sure you have something to catch fuel. Which I have this towel, so we should be okay. But if you're doing this on something that you really care about, I would not recommend doing it on
Definitely don't do it inside.
Yes, for sure. You'll have gas smells for days. And basically, this is just another cover piece. It's where the air filter sits, really, and it's kind of another place for mounting. So basically, this is the actual carburetor right here. And our objective right now is, well, first, see, I already have it really, really loose. You want to remove the throttle cable right here is what makes you rev it up, this thing right here. Don't worry, it won't suck in, but if you pull the trigger, it will move in. That's just a heads up for you guys. And basically how this engine works is this throttle line is connected to this thing, and it moves like this, and that's what connects fuel and pushes fuel into the engine to make it spin this fan on this other side, so it blows air. And basically what we're going to do right now is I'm going to carefully disconnect these fuel lines. Very carefully. And basically right now we're going to be taking apart the fuel line just so we can get this carburetor cleaner right here. And it doesn't really matter what kind you have. Just some little cheap $5 stuff we got at O'Reilly. And basically you're just going to want to get a little Phillips head screwdriver, and you're going to want to unscrew these two bolts. They may be kind of tight, but if you just get them undone, you can slowly, easily pull them out. Just like so. See, as you can tell, there is gas leaking on my fingers. So, that will happen because the engine's just doing what it knows to do. Push gas to the engine. But fortunately, the engine's not connected right here, so the gas that's leaking onto me is completely different. Anyway, back to what I was saying. We're going to unscrew this other bolt now. Warning, there will be a lot of gas that leaks right here. So just be super careful, and please make sure you keep up with your bolts, because if you do not keep up with your bolts, this will all be gone. This is a little film rubber piece right here. And what you're going to want to do is carefully, you're going to want to separate these two. But basically, if it doesn't seem like it wants to come off, which mine didn't really mind it that much. If it doesn't seem like it really wants to come off, don't force it, because the odds that you break this piece, if you break this piece, your carburetor's like done. Like, there's no hope for it. And you're just going to want to set those pieces off to the side. And if you hadn't noticed, this is where it pushes gas. So me opening this up will allow fuel to leave. Just like so. And it will continue to drain gas until I stop pushing that mechanism. Okay guys, so like I was saying, there is a slight little button right here, and if you push it, gas will leak through. It's just what the carburetor knows. So what you're going to do, you're going to come over to this side now. Make sure you still have all your other parts kept up with, because if you do not have all the parts to rebuild this carburetor, it will not work. It's just done. So I'm going to carefully remove all the screws, just like I did on the other side. And Warning, there will be a lot of gas flow when I'm done right here. Because as you can see, there's gas in this bubble. Which, probably, if you're me, wasn't really the smartest thing to do. Because I tried to fill it up earlier to start it just to make sure somebody didn't just forget to put gas in it. Oh, shoot. Yep. See right there? Gas is leaking from the machine. If you watch right here as I loosen the bolt some more gas will leak. It's just because that's how it knows, and it still has gas in the engine, or in the carburetor, I should say, not the engine. And if you have any open wounds, please do not attempt this on your fingers. It will burn and can make you very sick if you're not careful. And as you can see, gasoline will drip. It's okay. It's all the engine is. It's got gasoline in this carburetor. Because if it didn't, it wouldn't run. And last but not least, I'm going to remove the last bolt. But as I do this...
1 second, we're going to go move into the grass.
Anyway, guys, so we had to cut because gas was getting all over concrete. And concrete and gasoline do not really mix. If you put 2 and 2 together... Can you go set that on the towel? We cannot lose that. Anyway, just my friend will go and get the bolt. Anyway, but as I remove the last screw, we will have a lot of gas exposure because there's no more of a cap, if you know what I mean. That's there, if you will. A lot of gas is leaking out of my hand. It's just because that's what, you know, like I've already said numerous times. All the engine is gas, like, that's its fuel system. See? Now, once again, this is one of those film systems. You're going to carefully... Oh, well, there comes that other piece I was telling y'all about. And, see, this can be separated. I'm not going to recommend it, if you will, but this can be removed. If you've ever seen, like, the outside of a blower, that's what it looks like. But... carefully, we're going to just separate those two, and I will clean those separately. But our next step, and be careful with gasoline, it burns your fingers really bad. Learning the hard way. Really should have had a towel for this. It's not very good. We're cleaning a carburetor. But anyway, if this piece does not want to come up, you do not need to try to bring it up. I mean, you can carefully try to peel it up. But if your carburetor takes damage with this thing, it's like, it's one of those things. The carburetors are very fragile. They're just done. And yeah, there's another piece that should come off. But if it doesn't want to come off, don't force it. Do not force it. Because eventually, it won't go back on and you'll be in a lot of trouble. But now that we have this original piece, I'm going to do something. And this is something you have to be very careful with because... warning, this is spring loaded. If you lose the spring, this no longer works. Got a lot of gasoline here. And as you can see, there's no more gasoline in there. So it does not leak anymore. But skip the screw. Crap. But apparently I cannot do that anymore because this strip that screw. So also that's another thing you don't want to do. But basically what we're gonna do now is we're gonna kind of dry this sucker off a little bit, and as you can see, this is where it opens up to give it gas. It lets all the fuel leave into the engine because the engine, it goes right here. And as you can see, our carburetor is completely clean right there. So these two pieces are okay. There's nothing wrong with them. Although we will get a rag and wipe. Okay, guys, so if you hadn't noticed, I moved over here back to where we originally were. Here's all the parts over here, if you can't see them. Like I said, you need to make sure that this is one of the most important pieces to this. This has to be perfect, otherwise it will not work. And we're going to move that rag. We just got finished drying this out. Your carburetor cleaner should have came with one of these, and if it doesn't, you need to buy one that does. Now, warning, this thing does shoot. Whatever hole I put it in, it has an opposite reactor. So, just like that, we're going to carefully spray into all the holes. kind of clean it out, because
be careful not to get it on your skin because it'll dry out
yeah, the bottle
your
said
skin.
may cause drying of skin.
We just had to redo this because it sprayed all over me.
Yeah, good times. And you're just going to carefully continue to just pick every hole out and spray it. And please don't get it on your lip. It does not taste good. And basically, if you'll come over here, there is something I need to show you. If you're gonna, whenever you let the throttle in and you push it in, you need to push it in over here on this little thingy that I showed you guys that makes it go. See this little moving ring right here? If you cannot see, it's right there. It's the gold ring. And you want to open that up with this little control arm. And you want to spray off in there. Very nice. Very nice and very careful. And like I said, guys, you just want to spray every hole because it'll definitely get you a good clean finish when it's finished. And whenever you finish getting all the holes cleaned up, now you want to start spraying some of the parts off. Make sure you cover it in carb cleaner. You don't need to go completely berserk nuts with it, but just try to get close. And the air filter should be fine. This is just a cover-up piece, but we'll spray it anyway. Like I said, carb cleaner. And please do not get fire anywhere near this. This is freaking flammable, and we're dealing with gasoline, so full disclaimer, if you put fire near this, it will blow up. So if you smoke, I don't know if you do, be aware. Guys, so basically, if you remember, I pulled this cover off in the beginning. It's not necessarily a big deal if you don't do it, but I did it just to be safe. Just clean this off and make sure you wipe it off with a rag, because full disclaimer, any dirt in these carburetors just messes them up. But here in the next scene, you will see that we put this sucker back together. Okay, another thing, guys. Full disclaimer, if you hadn't noticed these stickers right here, these are completely, this is just a cover. That's the only purpose this serves. So, it would go right here covering up the carburetor. It does not need carburetor cleaner. That's just a waste of carburetor cleaner, and I can promise you, you do not want to waste it on that. Anyway, guys, this is also just another thing you do not put it on. This is a complete air filter. It's a separate thing. This thing's only purpose is to keep dirt from entering. See, it sits right here. It's to keep dirt from entering into this hole. See, this hole right here meets up with this over here, if you can see. It meets up with this. So this thing's only purpose is to keep dirt from flying in on the sides, so no dirt gets in. Okay, guys, now it's time for everyone's favorite, putting everything back together. And we're going to start with this guy. I don't know. I just wanted to. You're going to make sure you get this thing all the way sealed in. It doesn't well, yeah, it does pop off. So, full disclaimer. It will pop off until you put it back on. But that's not what we're here today for. Okay. Now what we're going to do, guys, is we need this piece right here to go right here. And it's going to cover it up. And basically, yeah, that's all we're doing. But first, for another little thing, these little covers need to go back on there where they go, because these just kind of keep it all cleaned up and all. But, you know, if you're not careful, you will rip it. So just be very precautious of what end you put it on. But, so I found the piece that this thing needed to go on. It sticks right back onto this thing, literally right back on, like nothing ever happened. You're just going to slowly slide it on. You want to make sure it gets to all the holes, so the sucker should fire. And basically, you see the circle and all that, you see the outlines, this is where it goes. It's just, and it may not stay on the first try, so what you're going to want to do is you're just going to carefully try to just leave it there, and that's where it'll stay. And then we're going to go on to putting this ring back on where it goes. Anyway, guys, so I have my good old friends, the trusty screws, which I carefully remember taking out of the holes. And what my objective now to do is I'm going to put all these back on where they go, so that way we can put this sucker back together and give it a fire. And anyway, so there you go, it's back on, but I'm pretty sure that's not the right screw. Maybe it is. Yeah, it is the right screw because it screws into this thing. And basically what we're gonna do is I have these long screws like I was saying. I'm gonna carefully insert these things back into their holes so that way we can put the sucker back together. And as you can see, this is the right piece, so you need to make sure you have it lined up in all of its holes, because if it's not lined up, it will not work. And yeah, whenever you're trying to line it up, just keep in mind it doesn't really like to line up sometimes, so just be very precautious of this. But anyway, guys, we're gonna slowly reattach this together. We're gonna make sure it's all the way in where it goes. There we go. And we're gonna re-screw in this screw, and we're gonna repeat the process 3 other times. You continue to repeat this process. You have your Phillips head. This will require a Phillips head, so don't act surprised if it's, yeah, and there you go. All that is sucking air and fuel. It has air, and it'll fill this up with fuel, so we can get fuel to the carburetor. But anyway, all you're gonna do now is you're gonna continue to repeat this process. So now I gotta try to put these back together perfectly. Okay guys, so I forgot about these 2 pieces before I put this back on, so this is still fine. You can leave that together. But what we're gonna do now is, you see these little pieces? You're gonna find the one that lines up with what you have. See, like right there, it lined up right there? And you're just gonna slowly set it in, just like that. And this one also goes there, so I'm gonna have to do that one too at the same time, which is very tricky. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna carefully set these 2 together, just like so shown. And basically we're gonna try to do this without bending it, because like I said, this is a very tricky thing to do, so because I'm trying to hold this. So basically, I'm gonna go and cut real quick, and I'm gonna have my assistant find a place to put my phone so he can be. Okay guys, so like I was saying, my assistant will help me, but whenever we're done, you're gonna see this piece already attached. So this piece should go right back on where it was. Same with this piece. I got it from right here, and we're just gonna flip it back over because that's not the right way. And you're just gonna set it in. So go back up 1, set it in. And yeah, once you have it set in, this is a very difficult thing to do, so just be careful. Not entirely sure I was supposed to peel this one off, but I think we can make it go back on like it needs to. Anyway guys, so like I was saying, me and my friend, we got the black pieces in, and what we're doing now is I'm just gonna carefully re-screw this whole thing back together. You're just reversing the process that you did earlier. Anyway guys, like I was saying, this piece is this little important little thingamabobber. That was a weird term, I will never use it again. Basically what we're gonna do now is, if you can kind of see, like this thing has to go on there, and I just forgot about it, which is a good thing I didn't get all 4 in. So we will have to put this thing on, and I'll be back with you guys when we do. Anyway guys, so what we're doing is, now that I have this little thingy on, I'm just gonna install the last couple of screws. Did I really forget that? Go back out. I keep forgetting steps, you guys. So as you can see here, I have this little film thing I was showing you guys earlier. It is just, you know, a standard little film or whatever. It doesn't really matter much. It's not that important. What we're gonna do now is I'm gonna be slapping this cover back on here so we can slowly put this thing together. And right off, I just want to say something. This is gonna be like kind of difficult, so if you just don't really know how to do it, this is a great tutorial, but not the point. Anyway, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this little plastic piece right here, and I'm gonna try to, it actually worked better when I had it this way. Maybe that is the right way. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so guys, I've got this screwed in, and basically, like, it was that one important piece I told you, and you need that cover back. That cover has to be on there. And you're just gonna want to be super careful as to what you do, because like I said, this piece is very fragile, and any piece could and will tear it up. But with the steps I'm using, it shouldn't. Anyway, this piece is now completed. Now that the carburetor is completely finished, we can re-put all this cover and stuff back on. Anyway, guys, so now that the carburetor is fully rebuilt and has been cleaned, what we are now going to do is you have to make sure you align the throttle control. So that's one of the first things. Throttle control has been re-engaged. Now what we're going to do is you're going to take your two little mounting bolts you had at the very, very beginning. And
we're coming to the final steps.
Yes, this is the final finish, if you will.
If you've been watching all this, then hopefully this is very helpful.
Yes, I hope it was, because it sure did take us a while. But anyway, that's not the point. So, anyway, you're going to take these big old mounting bolts you had, and you're going to slide them into this thing. Make sure that this piece is on the end. Excuse me. Couldn't speak. Hold up. I messed it up. Pulled it off. Make sure that piece is on the end, yes. And I will remount the thing in just a moment. Let the moment be. But anyway, see, this thing does not exactly like to mount when fully engaged, so yeah, that's just a little tip for you guys. But what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna reconnect this again. Plus, it also slid off when I was trying to fix it. We're gonna take that big old mounting bolt I was telling you guys about, and we're gonna slide it on in. And if you come right here, you can see that we're just gonna carefully put it in its hole and scoot it up. And you're going to take that Phillips head, or this flathead, I'm sorry, not Phillips. Take this flathead you had, and what we're now going to do is we're now going to screw it back on. Oh yes, and guys, make sure that you do air dry this carburetor out. We're not going to use this thing right away. Just so, that's why I've done this, but make sure that whenever you do this, and by the way, like I was saying, make sure whenever you do this, you do let it air dry for just a little bit. But once you have done that, we are all good to go. But
yeah, so use a different blower to blow out this blower.
Yeah.
So it doesn't blow.
So what you're going to do now is you're going to reroute this thing, this little air piece that I was telling you guys about, if you will. You're going to remount it into this thing so that now it does go back on properly. Now that all of this has been done, we put it back together just like we got it. And which you just put your cover back on however your cover is. This is how ours is. Boom. There you go. And now it's time for the big fire.
Starting up the hose just in case it blows up.
Yes, guys, whenever you do this, and especially because we use carburetor cleaner, you always want to make sure you got protection. Because if this thing sparks a fire, you have to be on standby, ready to put it out immediately.
Okay, so just make sure you have a hose, like, just holding it in your hand while you have a different guy.
Starts up the blower.
Here, wait, no, take it away from the house a little.
Yeah, good idea.
All right, the great reveal.
And it could take a couple of pulls, by the way, guys, because, well, we may need to put more gas in it. Do you think we should? Do you have any gas?
No, we don't.
Okay. So, yeah, I do have to get the gas running through the line. Unfortunately, I do not think it's going to work that way. Why? Okay, guys. So now that I have more gas in this thing, let's see if we can get it to start.
We didn't put that much gas in, so I think we might need a refill again.
Yes, we'll do that. Okay, guys, so pretty much this thing is a dud. I mean,
huge fail. It'll work for you guys, at least. We really hope, because
we have a big surprise
we did everything
planned.
right. But go watch our other video that we are about to make. We
will still post this. You guys will see it, but it'll just be a huge, huge fail.
But it'll work for you guys, so that's why we're posting it. We wouldn't just do it if it didn't. We just found this randomly on the side of the road that someone wanted to throw out.
So we decided to try to do
and we thought
something.
that was the thing that was wrong, but we found out it was actually this black little tube thing.
Anyway,
Okay,
guys.
so go, if you are on my channel, JSJ Incorporated, then go check out Jace Every Day, because it is a great channel.
And if you're not on, even if you're on my channel, go check out JSJ Incorporated.
Okay, also go to the link in the description to see us
Do something really stupid with this thing.
we're
We'll either blow it up or we're gonna make a bike motor out of it.
Yep, okay, so see you there.